Greetings and salutations. Welcome to another DIG Agency live Q&A. We're doing it live. It's April 28th, 2025. My name is David DeFord. It's a pleasure to have you on this live stream training. So let me give you an overview of how we do things on our live Q&A call so you can get the most out of it. So first of all, being a live Q&A call, it's all about answering your questions about selling insurance and marketing insurance successfully. So those of you watching either on Zoom or those of you watching on YouTube, you're welcome to throw any questions that you have about anything related to selling insurance and marketing it successfully into the chat. You can ask questions about scripts, different products to sell. If you have questions about joining the DIG Agency, I will shamelessly plug my business, of course, but only if you ask it. So throw that in the chat at any point here. My recommendation is to throw those questions in the chat now. Things tend to get busy and up and running. So if you have questions and you want it answered quickly, throw them in the chat now. Also, if you are watching this, you are encouraged to hit the like button. That tells YouTube to share this video to other insurance agents who desperately need the advice and wisdom from a longtime insurance agent and agency. Also consider subscribing if you haven't. Now, before we get started, I actually will do a little bit of shameless plugging. We have experienced an incredible accomplishment at the DIG Agency with some of our new sales training that we do that very few other organizations offer. And I wanted to do a little bit of a promotion of it. So there's two different training modalities that we've implemented for our free lead agents involving artificial intelligence. The first is AI sales call reviews, and the second is AI Mildred. So let me explain and then show you what both of these are. So first of all, one of the biggest things that agents want that are looking to join an agency that they really don't get a lot of is intensive training. And the more specific, the more custom tailored to the individual agent, the better, right? I mean, it makes sense, right? We all have our particularities with what we need to get feedback on to get better. And what we have done with AI, with these two different training programs, is to really get a more custom tailored solution to our agents so they can realize what they're doing right, but more importantly, what they can improve on faster than anywhere else they would go as far as an agency goes, or even on their own in many cases. So let me go into detail about what these are. So the first one is our sales call feedback. So at the conclusion of agents as they sell on the phone and talk to prospects, the conclusion or what they get as far as feedbacks at the conclusion of the call is an automated review of that actual sales call, where the AI system we've developed reviews the transcript of the call, plugs it into what it's been taught, the AI. We've taught our AI to identify what a good final expense telesales call sounds like. And then we benchmark it on a graded basis of how well that agent scored from 1 to 10 and giving them specific feedback on different parts of the call and what they did right and what they could do better. And again, how do we do this? How does AI does this? Of course, we've been doing this for a long time. We have literally hundreds of very good top producers' sales calls recorded, and we taught our AI system, this is what a good sales call sounds like. These are the components and the different parts of the presentation about what sounds good and what is good. And so now our AI system can do an even better job than a sales trainer can, and in a much faster way too, by listening to the whole call and providing an output to literally showing you what's going right and what can be improved. And I want to show you what this looks like. This literally gets emailed to you within a couple of minutes of finishing your sales call. So let me pull this up here. So you're going to be seeing, I believe, my screen. Hopefully you guys can see that at home. This is the output of one of our agents who conducted a sales call with a real prospect. And there's different pillars of our script. You'll learn all this as a new agent, of course. But we go through it and indicate what was right and what can be improved. Like, for example, in the opener, which is very important for new agents to master, the agent correctly used the script owner. Alina, this is Brian with the DIG Agency calling you back about the final expense quote, blah, 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 blah. This matches the script requirements and successfully engages the prospect. So we indicate when they do it right. And then we also source the training where if they need to go back and reference our training material, they can go find this easily, especially with things that they mess up in order to reinforce and get better at. So one of the things that this agent did incorrectly was down here. Let's look at the close. The agent failed to push for the close effectively when the prospect expressed a need to go and retrieve her bank information. The agent did not use what we call the fake appointment pivot, again, a technique that you would learn as an agent, effectively to maintain control and keep the call moving towards closure. Again, we source where they can go find that and look in the training itself. And then we give them an overall call score. And then we give them some action plans on what to do. So for example, review script narration 4 hours to master to master flow. Drill the opener 20 times. And these are all suggestions. Role play fake appointment. We show them on the script, the actual page where it's at, where they can actually, again, do it and improve. So, and then this goes on for the other calls. So they get this nice long review with actionable steps and places where they can go in order to get improvement and improve their game. I'm so sorry. Let me just go ahead and do that again for you guys' sake. I forgot some of you are on your cell phones as opposed to me, which I'm on my desktop. So again, this is what this looks like. I'll zoom in a little bit better. So this is, again, I'll just pause this so you guys can look at it. You guys can go back and review it on a paused basis, but you can get the idea, right? So we've got what they did right, what they can improve on, and then we give them a grade at the bottom, and then tell them what they can do to get better, and then give them an action plan on what steps to take. Again, that's a big thing. It's not just about telling you what you did wrong. It's about what you can do to fix it so you won't be wrong next time, right? Pretty cool. So this is something we provide all of our agents at the DIG Agency as they get going. This is invaluable feedback on how to get better. I can't stress enough. A lot of you guys out there, you're going to join an agency, you're going to be given a script, but you're never going to be told what you're doing right and what you can do to improve. And you won't get that kind of feedback on the immediate basis that we can do it. Literally, you're getting it immediately, like within a couple of minutes, hour at most, whatever it is. That's the kind of things that you need, because what if you don't get feedback for a couple of days? You've already forgotten the call because you've done a bunch of others. What was the takeaway from that? So the speed of turning around the feedback is vital. And again, everybody gets this. Pretty cool, huh? Okay. So the next thing I want to share is and I'm super excited about this, is our AI Mildred call. So we've trained AI to recognize what a good sales call sounds like, right? We've also trained another AI system on what prospects say and the kind of pushback that they give, kind of objections they give. And so we've trained our AI on a voice-based system to act as if they are Mildred. That's the name that we give our old final expense clients, or any of them. And this gives the opportunity to the agent, you, to call in to a line and then go through a sales presentation and actually act out the script or rehearse and role play the script with somebody that's going to, again, it's AI, as you're going to listen to in a minute. It's not exactly like a prospect, but it's very close to what you would otherwise expect. And it allows you in a way to go through the script, to go through the rebuttals, and to practice the fundamentals of the script that is as close as possible to the real thing without having to blow through a bunch of calls or a bunch of leads, to give yourself the opportunity to practice and get better, and then ultimately to get feedback as well. So I wanted to play an example of this. This is from one of our very good agents who's been with us for a couple of months now. And you can listen to how he's starting the call. And there's actually an easy, medium, and hard mode. And you tell AI Mildred how hard you want it. And of course, Darian said hard. So let me play this as an example. Let me share my audio here. And then you can kind of hear the back and forth. We're just going to play a few, like a 30 seconds of it, just to give you an idea of what to expect and how beneficial this is. So you should be able to hear this. Let's play it.
Back to you about that price quote you'd requested on Facebook for the final expense. You put your zip code as 31824, is that correct?
Who is this again? I don't remember requesting anything.
Oh, it's no problem at all, Mary. Yeah, this is Darian Spears. I was calling you back because you had requested a price quote for the burial and cremation plans.
I don't think I did that. I don't usually fill out forms like that. Are you sure it was me?
So being in hard mode, we're going to throw out all the objections. And again, this gives you as the agent the opportunity to deal with some of this pushback, right? Again, does it sound like Mildred, grandma, 7 years old? No. There's a little bit of, the beginnings of AI voice for sure. But understand it actually, the fact that there's some pauses there, and it's not exactly like a live fire environment where people interrupt you and they scream at you. Not that that happens all the time, but it does happen. It is a good intermediary step to practice the script, but get something that's closer to reality and get good at rolling those objection rebuttals off. We've got a whole 17-minute presentation or 17-minute audio where Darren goes back and forth with AI Mildred and going through this process. Again, I can't stress enough, like the one big thing that I have heard for years from agents is I want role play. I want the ability to practice and improve my script. Well, now we can do it at your leisure when it's on your time, and then also give you feedback on what you're doing right and what you're improving. So these are the two major innovations, of course, that we're doing here at the DIG Agency. I'm super pumped and excited for what we're doing for our agents. And of course, if you're interested to learn more, davidduford.com, you can learn more about our agency, watch the overview video, and then you'll see how to apply or come to a live Q&A call to ask us questions. And I'm happy to follow up with any questions you guys have. So I just want to share that with you. I'm very excited about that. So let's, hey, thank you, Mark. Appreciate the super chat. Thank you very much. But let's go ahead and answer your questions. So guys, any questions now, shifting gears to Q&A. This is the opportunity to ask any kind of questions you'd like to. I'm going to begin with Justin's questions here in a second. And then as you guys have questions, I'll be happy to address them. And for those of you jumping on, feel free to hit the like button if you haven't. That helps share this video with more people. Okay. Justin says, on the video, you require agents to watch before they join. When you went over if you have a birthday within certain months, I only have a life license in Texas. That where we go over the birthday question is not related to if you're in this state and in between these birthdays, we only recruit you. We can recruit anybody anywhere in the nation. But when you join the agency, you're responsible for buying 6 licenses to start the process. So which of the 6 that you start with, you can go to that screen and break it down. It depends on where your birthday lies. So if it's between January and June, it's the first set of licenses that I show on the screen. If it's between July and December, it's the second set of licenses. Does that make sense? But I don't care if you live in Texas, that's fine. You'll still have to get the other, whatever your birthday is, those are the licenses you have to get. We'll show you how to get those licenses. If you don't have them, you can purchase them after you're approved to join. Again, our onboarding team will help you with that. Thank you, Julie. Appreciate it. Hey, Dario. Questions. Do you have Spanish-speaking only leads? We don't. Although there are leads that end up only speaking Spanish, even though our ads were English. We do have a few agents that speak Spanish. We kind of just send those to those agents. But otherwise, we don't actively go after the Spanish-speaking market. I think the main reason is it's just conceivably harder to find enough people consistently ready to take Spanish-speaking leads relative to just the easy availability of English-speaking leads. I have nothing against it. There are organizations like David Price's. You may want to check him out. I know he was talking about running a Spanish-speaking division, Spanish-only speaking division. And I know there's others that do it out there, but we just haven't. Eric, hey, do you allow agents to be in another IMO not selling final expense? Yes. Yeah, if you have carriers elsewhere that are not final expense and you want to join the DIG agency, you're welcome to keep them there. what we can't have, if you're going to come into a free lead program, and this is true for any free lead organization that is interested in making money, you can't have final expense carriers at other IMOs and then work with us. The temptation for some people, not you probably, but others, is that if there's a very high commission contract somewhere else and then a lower one, because we're providing all the resources and systems, to pivot that business over to that other piece of that other carrier. So we just ask that you move all your carriers over or terminate those ones that you cannot get moved over, which is the usual expectation. We do release if it's not a good fit for those people who aren't a part of that work in it and it's not a good fit. So we're not going to hold you hostage. But if you got Medicare, ACA, IUL business elsewhere, we don't ask for that. Hey, Norse. Dave, fast question, please. Can you please list your absolute top 3 to 5 carriers and why you're using? Sure. I'll go through our list at the Free Lead Agency. Let me cough first, though. All right. So number 1 is American Amicable for us, and this is for final expense. The reason we use them AMAM is because they're just all around easier to use than other carriers. They do Social Security deposit billing, which is critical in getting the billing timed correctly. Prices are reasonable. Underwriting's fairly predictable. Some of it does get referred to underwriting, but for us, it's not a tremendous amount, and most comes back approved. Let's see what else. They have the Everest program. If you like the idea of pushing something like Lincoln Heritage does with their Funeral Consumer Guardian Society to help shop the funeral around, there is this program that is helpful. And AMAM is just, they've been doing final expense telesales for decades now, longer than pretty much everybody else. The product has remained largely unchanged. And so to me, it means they have a grasp of the peculiarities of final expense telesales. So that's important for me. Also, we have American Home Life. We don't write a ton of business with them. I think the possibility is there. We just tend to trend more towards AMAM as our primary one. We also have Sika. To me, Sika is really important with the guaranteed issue business. Again, I've spoken out against guaranteed issue business. It depends on what day of the week you ask me. I'm either like mildly tolerant of it or I hate it. Today, I'm mildly tolerant of it, but there's enough of it out there that I'd like to get rid of GI entirely and just market towards non-GIs, but it's just hard to find that in the marketing. So we continue to keep GI. Sika is about to roll out, if they haven't already, Social Security deposit billing for GI. They're the only carrier that does it as far as I know. And then their level product can be good at times for the squirrely health cases. So, and they're easy telesales. I think they now have the text to sign, so that's helpful. And then the other ones that we use are Mutual of Omaha for Price Buster. Although my experience has been for Moo, there's a lot of captive agents out there that will say, oh, we have Moo, it's less expensive. And what they're really doing is replacing it with a GI plan. And the persistency is not as good as you think it would be with Mutual of Omaha. That's always been an issue. Plus Moo, Mutual of Omaha, there's a disclosure, last I checked, and in every policy that says, if you don't want us to market you for med sups, critical illness, other products, then sign this disclosure and then we won't. But because you're a client of Moo, they will call you to try to sell you this or mail you stuff. And it's always kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Why do we keep it? Probably because the agents like the idea of having brand name when necessary, kind of a good fallback from a sales tactic if all else fails. But I don't like what they do. And then lastly is Trinity Family Benefit. I really like Trinity Family Benefit. My only gripe with them, and we would write a lot more of them, and I've told Alvin this, is their application process is totally verbal, and it's just can be cumbersome to say the least when most others are text to sign. I understand some of the reasons why they do it. It prevents a lot of fraud-based issues to have a recording on the call. But other than that, they're a very good price buster. Persistency is pretty good. There's some other ones out there. You know, we've looked at Baltimore Life. I've heard a little bit about Combined, kind of newer products on the scene. I tend to be a late adapter with some of the newer carriers out there simply because they have to learn how to be a good carrier many times, and then you're the guinea pig they're beta testing on. So I kind of have reservations against newer carriers until they're vetted to some extent. But some of those can be pretty good. And that's not, look, there's a lot of other carriers out there. We just choose not to be a dozen plus carrier agency anymore. We try to keep half of our business to one primary carrier or more, if at all possible. But those are the five-ish that I would start with for sure. Thank you. Again, welcome to the DIG Agency Live Q&A. If you've got any questions about anything insurance sales and marketing, please throw them into the chat. Be happy to address them. And then also, if you like this content, make sure you hit the like button. Let's continue. Hey, Julie, how does vesting work with DIG? I know free leads don't own the book, but is there some sort of vesting period? Like after 3 years, they'd get the renewals? No. The way that we do vesting means owning the book of business. And that's fancy talk for, do you get paid more than just the upfront money? Do you get paid the back end money for the first year and the renewal commission? And the reason we don't do it for free leads is because free lead systems, the free lead programs are expensive. It's a very cost expensive and cost driven business model where we relieve that cost of the agent that they would normally have to pay. And most free lead organizations who've been in the game a long time recognize this eventually, and then own the book. You were an LOA agent. We tried it without that. I don't know, most people don't know this, but for the first year we did it no LOA, but it was very financially difficult. So we converted to an LOA model because of that. Now, the saving grace of this is that if you get to the point where you want to own your book of business, we allow that through the broker model. And all the broker model means is that you move away from free leads to now owning your book of business at a higher commission level, but now you have to pay out of pocket the leads, lead management cost, the dialer, and the CRM. So it's like kind of more in the movement from salesperson to business owner, where now you hold or carry the cost for all the operational costs, but in exchange, you have a higher commission rate. And now at that point, for the business you write from there on out, you own that book of business, the back end plus the renewal. So why would you do it? Why would you join free leads and not broker? Well, so the way that I pitch the free lead program, for those of you who are new to this, is that yes, you don't own a book of business. No, you're not going to get the renewal income. But what you're doing by joining us is you're greatly lowering your risks of failure. There's no way to guarantee your success. But my opinion is, after running a broker-based recruiting business for 10 years, is that the vast majority of agents don't make it. Because largely, there's all sorts of reasons, but one of the biggest reasons is money. The money that it takes to run a business is way more than you think. And on top of that, going a layer below that, the emotional turmoil that it takes risking your money week in, week out at $750 to $1,000 a week, and having bad weeks intertwined in there, psychologically is a huge burden. And when you come into the free lead program like ours, that's all lifted from you. All you have to do is learn the system, get on the dialer, and work, and be committed to being improving. And you're not going to have nearly the same amount of financial risk that you otherwise would. That's a huge benefit. So that long term, this is where the brokering comes in long term. If you want to go that route, which a lot of our agents don't, but if you do, it's a safer play. When you've established yourself as an agent, you know how to sell, you know about work ethic, you know the script. But whether it's months or years, we don't have a time requirement. When you make that transition, your staying power in the business is much, much higher because you've developed the fundamentals. So I kind of look at it as the crawl before you walk type of approach to business and a risk mitigation approach. Good question. Hopefully that makes sense. Hey, Chris, seems good to practice role playing. That way the agent's dead air or response time to objections will get faster. Yeah. Yeah. It's like I do jujitsu. So, in jujitsu, the way we practice is we roll around on the ground. Right? And it's not a real fight, right? Like a real fight, everything happens a lot faster. It's all instinctually based, right? Like I'm just reacting and trying to overcome that reaction, pivot things in my favor. And if you practice that way, it's hard. You never really learn anything. But when you roll, you're supposed to roll at a less intense level. So you can slow things down, work through techniques, learn the process, etc. So this is almost like it's like rolling in jiu-jitsu. It's like sparring. It gives you this opportunity to learn things in a less stressful way so that once the real thing comes around, you're that much prepared, right? You've ingrained, in a sense, the techniques that you should know, the verbal techniques. Okay. Can you talk a little bit about the starting 40% commission for free lead agents? Other free lead programs I've seen have 50%. Yeah. I mean, you're just going to get different commissions for different agencies. Commissions are one component to the system. You should look at things not based off of, it's like, why do some cars cost $30,000 and others cost $60,000? It drives you from point A to point B, right? Well, the answer there is, well, what other perks or benefits are there? Maybe there's a fuel efficiency. Maybe you'll spend less money. Maybe it's a more enjoyable ride. Maybe it's got something the other doesn't, right? So that's how I would liken what we do. My sales pitch has always been, we know the business. We have the best platform. If you want final expense telesales, we invest heavily in the development of it. We're the only ones I know of that are doing this AI sales call review and then this AI role playing. Eventually, other people will catch up to us, but these are the kind of things that we have invested a ton of resources in to make happen. And my argument would be, again, you can't just say, well, commission doesn't matter. Of course it matters. But what also matters is lead quality, the system, the dialing system. And you wouldn't know these as a newer agent. I'll go into more detail. So like, for example, one thing that makes us different is we develop our own leads. We self-generate all of our own leads on Facebook. Whereas other agencies, they'll buy data, which is just basically names in a phone book, and just dial them. Okay. Not to say that that doesn't work, but the quality difference in the leads is night and day. Agents who will tell you that have worked that system that come to ours see a dramatic difference in quality. That's really important to understand. So you may have a 50%, but if you're dialing essentially names out of the phone book and you don't get that many opportunities a day, whereas if you're at 40% with quality leads, you may be making less per sale, but you'll be making more in volume. That's an argument you can make. Another thing is the dialer. There is a well-known free lead agency that dials a single line manual dialing system. It's with a CRM I used to use in a different era of my business. And you're just never going to get through as many calls a day using the system. And so you as the agent are capped to a certain extent, arguably, in your ability to scale the system. So we use a dialer called Convoso. Now we retail it as DIG dialer. If you don't own a call center and you don't work with us, you can buy this. But this dialer increased our connection rates by 300% plus. And what that means is basically, and this is really important, how many people are you actually talking to a day? One of the biggest problems in telesales is getting people to pick up the phone because a lot of numbers are labeled as spam likely, telemarketer likely, and you'll spend all this money on otherwise good leads that never pick up the phone. And so what Convoso does for us is it scrubs our numbers, it rotates the numbers in and out, and it facilitates a process to get more of our dials to actually pick up. Okay. So that means our agents talk to more people. Our best agents, the agents that are the top producers, they literally wait 30 seconds to 60 seconds between calls. That's another thing. If you are using a dialer that doesn't have this kind of technological advantage, you may be just listening to dead air, waiting for somebody to pick up. And it could be minutes, it could be hours sometimes. So with our agents who are productive and good, their wait time is very minimal because we've programmed it in a way where they're not waiting because they're producing, they're selling. And incidentally, a lot of our agents who are top producers, they don't have to work as long. Of course, I encourage them work as many hours as you can, but they'll put 20, 25, maybe 30 hours a week on the phone. That's it. So they can get their sales, make their money, and have a life too. Whereas it may take double that time with another dial. So these are things, and I know I kind of got off on a tangent here, but you can't just look at the price and just say and ascertain value behind it. Like what is What are you getting with the system, the training, the leads? Like that is really important to that. And while we're not necessarily the best commissions, we have the best system. And I didn't mention this. We do have a system to advance you to 50%, even 60% commission as you produce. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it. And thank you for the question, Julie. What is the company culture like at DIG? Company culture here, it's very hands off. I would say it's, you know, I think it'd be a better question to ask the agents. We're very serious about your development as an agent. We care about you having the resources to be as successful as possible. Never do we guarantee that anybody's going to be successful. I've never said that, never will. But we want to and believe passionately in providing you the best resources from leads, trainers, training, automations, AI, et cetera, to give you the best chances, right? If you're going to do this business, we want you to come to us because we feel like we've got the best chance. Now, as far as the culture goes, you know, I don't know. That's a good question. My opinion is kind of looking at our culture, like we're very hands off once you've proven yourself. We're not the kind of culture that's going to be demanding your every living second working with us. You're a 1099. I think that's part of where I'm going with this is you're a sole proprietor. You have full control on when you work, how much or how little you work. So, you know, we kind of look at this as you come here, you do your thing, and then you live your life. It's really how it is. This isn't like a culture where, you know, you're doing ice baths and getting motivational talks and all that stuff. Not that I'm against any of that stuff. But it's very matter of fact. You come in, you do your work, and then you go live your life. You know, it's not an all-encompassing, your life is the DIG agency, right? You could make it that way if you want to. But it's always, there's this kind of their arm's length or hands-off kind of mentality or culture. Maybe if there's some agents here that want to kind of express what they think, that might be a better idea. But that's kind of been my intention, my belief. Okay. Hey, Neil, last week you spoke about top agent call numbers versus closes. For those top agents, if they stay consistent, what does the monthly income look like? It depends. You know how I've expressed, I don't like that question because like I said, we'll have a top agent write, you know, 25 hours a week and they write 8 to 10 sales. You know, they're probably going to trend towards a low six-figure income, high five-figure income. But if they double their work, they'll double their income. So it just really depends. To me, I think in this business, like a really top income, like what they're taking home, probably 8 to 10,000 a month is what I would consider. That's what I would consider to be like really good. There's not many agents in this business that are doing $250,000. They're out there, or like 20,000 consistently, like for a year. They may have 20,000 months, but I'm talking about clearing that consistently. It's final expense is a good first year income, but there's a lower ceiling, admittedly, compared to things like annuities or even IULs. If you can scale those, you know, you're looking at commission sizes that are a lot larger. But the challenge with annuities and IULs is finding systems that predictably give you business or predictably send you leads to talk to at scale. Okay. I believe the cost to sign up with DIG is $1,000. It's $1,500 now, Dario. We do accept payment plans. Once you come to the Q&A today, once you're accepted, I think we send you options of how to make the payments. Hey, Eric, sounds like the DIG dialer is super sophisticated. I love that it's TCPA compliant. What hours can you be logged into it? Whatever hours that TCPA allows. So all of this is pre-programmed in, Eric. So when you log into the dialer, you can only call the states that are compliant to be called in. You cannot by default call a lead. Like if it's 9 p.m. or let's say it's 10 a.m. in Tennessee, Eastern time. You cannot at all dial a lead in California. You can't because it's 7 a.m., right? And that's outside of I think it's like 9 to 9 or I don't know what it is, but that's probably outside of it. So you're protected by default. It's really good. And Convosa is really good about helping you design call sequences based off of TCPA guidelines. So yeah, that's all built, that's baked into the cake. Okay, let's keep going. Again, questions, you got them, throw them in the chat. Happy to help. Andre, hey Andre. Thanks, Dave, for sharing so much. You're welcome. I'm scheduled for the required Q&A call this afternoon with DIG. Is this session separate? I would, you don't have to go to it. I would highly recommend that you do, only because this is your career. And, you know, I mean, I take it very seriously. I'm asking you guys to take a pivot from whatever career path you've been on to give this a shot. And I don't take that lightly. That's why, like, today's video that went out is 10 reasons why selling insurance sucks. I want you to know all the bad stuff, because there's no perfect business out there. And I don't want you to enter this line of business and then 6 or 12 months later absolutely regret it and hate it. And I don't think you will if you consume my content, you come to my Q&A calls. Maybe it's the conservative late adapter mindset that I have. I just want to make sure that as much, you can't be 100% sure. It is a leap of faith, but I want you to be empowered with knowledge. And I think knowledge is empowering. So I would recommend that you show up to the Q&A. But if you got questions, I mean, obviously we spent most of the time here answering questions about the company. You're welcome to throw them in the chat. If that satisfies it, that's fine. But I just take this really seriously. I love this profession. It's not for everybody. And the last thing I want you guys to do is like blow your career, right? So I want you to be prepared so you know what to expect. All right. Japagan, how's the training? I'm willing to invest in my own leads, but my current upline doesn't seem to invest in development. Yeah. So for us, we have 2 trainers, one that's really heavily invested in helping you on the opening. The other trainer runs training calls, answers questions, et cetera, in the chat. We also do live training multiple times a week with Tim, who's our COO. He's been with us since the beginning of the free lead program. But then also the artificial intelligence-based training we talked about earlier, which would be AI sales call reviews. We can review your sales calls, give you feedback on what went right, what you can improve, give you some action steps and how to fix that. Watch the beginning of this Q&A, guys, if you want to see that. I show all that. And then we do AI Mildred, which is a bot that we built that acts like a prospect so that you can practice your script and actually get and role play. Very powerful stuff. I don't know anybody else who's doing what we're doing. So that alone, I think, is better than 99% of the training. And I don't mean to sound arrogant. I'm just very confident because I've been doing this since 2013, recruiting agents. I've seen all of the competition. And the big thing is very few of them actually have decent training. It usually is along the lines of what you're saying. They don't care. Good luck. Here's your script. All right. Hey, Juanita, for new agents, after we sign on, how long do you have to make your first call for eligible? Yeah. So we have this bonus that we have. It's the quick start bonus. If you, in your first 30 days on the dialer, Juanita, so it's not from getting accepted, but it's on the dialer. So that means you've had several months to practice, right? So your first day on the dialer, it's 30 days from there. So within those first 30 days, if you can close 15 sales, then we'll send you a check for $1,500 cash. So we'll throw it on the next pay period, and then that's your money. So 15 sales breaks down to like 3 to 4 sales a week. If you're putting 40 or 50 hours in, I'm not guaranteeing it, but there's a strong likelihood if you've done what you're supposed to, you're doing the script, you've gone through the training like you should, that you should be able to get that money back. Questions, feel free to ask them. Okay, it's already 12:40. Wow. What should my Facebook ad budget be like to start off with? I don't know for sure. I don't run the ads for the DIG agency. I've got a team that does all that stuff. Probably some people in the chat watching could suggest some things, but you got to start your Facebook ads with Facebook going through a learning phase. I think that's a cheaper amount. I would say if I were running my own ads and I wanted 100 leads a week and I was doing final expense, I'm probably going to want to spend 150 or scale up eventually to 150 to 200 a day. Yeah. Yeah, we don't recruit agents, GE Pagan, to non-free leads. We don't do anymore. I'll tell you why. Most agents fail when they have to buy their own leads. It is a psychological trauma. I kind of say that tongue in cheek, but not really. I mean, like it's like most people don't because they've never been entrepreneurs before. They don't know how to, on a disciplined basis, despite their emotional turmoil of having a bad week, spend the money correctly. And they'll go out and buy bad leads that are cheaper and then have even worse results and then eventually just flush out of the business and lose 5, 10 grand. I'm just not interested in doing that anymore. And the free lead system, allows the agents to have a much less lower risk exposure to earnestly try the business with all the best tools available without the significant expense that it takes. And there's other issues too from a risk standpoint. One of the other things that's huge in this business is the fraud. A lot of the fraudsters out there, I've been ripped off for multiple times, 50 to 100,000 from single agents and money off of my money that I would have otherwise earned. And it's easier to screw an upline because we co-sign, the debt on agents if they don't pay it back. It's easier it's what you find with more of the unscrupulous, unethical agents that do this stuff. They do it more for the brokers out there. So if you're recruiting brokers, then what ends up happening? Uh-oh. I don't know if you guys lost me. Let's see if I can get back on here. Can you guys see me? All right, I'm back. I don't know what happened. All right. What I have seen happen is that these the fraud's just way more exposed in agents that are hiring brokers. So I've been hit for a lot of money and I'm just not interested anymore. And I know people who just continuously get hit by it and for way more than even what I've been hit on a single basis. So for me, long story short, there's risk elements to it, but there's also benefits to you to just actually go through a system to where you can focus on selling. Marketing and buying, it's a whole nother skill set. Most people don't do a good job at it to start. I'd say 90% of people. There's exceptions to the rules, but I don't want to run a business based off exceptions. Thank you for the question. Danny, the AI voice script review seems really cool. That is cool. Is that brand new? Very interesting. Yeah, it's brand new. It'll only get better too. Like we'll get it to where the pauses are less. AI is advancing on the voice front. We'll continue to train it. Like it's all a work in progress that we spend a lot of time and money investing in getting improved and better. Coming from a non-free lead system, I can confirm all the psychological trauma. Yeah, I say that tongue in cheek, but there's truth to that. Nothing wrong with it. It's just harder than it sounds. Tanya, I'm sorry if I said your name wrong. Why don't your agents own their book of business or offer renewals? Because we finance the whole system. It's expensive, and I run a business where I want to make money. The compromise, I guess, or the middle ground is that if you want to be a broker and do all of the purchasing and spending, you can do that at a future date as a free lead agent and then own your book of business for what you write thereafter. So it's the way that we kind of offer that to people who are concerned about that in the long run. Hey, Gerald, I paid my onboarding fee. I need 2 states, Georgia and Tennessee. Can I start training now? Yeah. Absolutely. Get with whoever you're dealing with, Gerald. We let you into training while you're waiting on your licenses, even if you haven't purchased them. So yeah, go for it. Hey, Mark, sounds like AI Mildred helps a lot. Sure does. She sure seems to be sitting across from your significant other. Yeah, exactly. Right. Much more on demand. You can start practicing like now. That's very important. Thank you, Danny. Thanks, Go. I don't know what happened here. AI Mildred is amazing. I call her a lot. BS, we'll be getting on the dialer soon and plan to work very full time. Thank you. We love people who work a lot. Again, you can work as much or as little as you want at the DIG agency, but we really appreciate when you work a lot. I did my little rant last week about working. So I'll spare you unless you want to hear me whine again. Any days or times a week that are best than to do other life things? Oh, let me read that again. Any days or times that are best to do other life things? Any times less productive? Oh, okay. I'll just generally take that as what's the best time to dial. I know for us, we have less age. So one way to look at it is if there's less agents on the dialer, it might be a better time to dial. So that would almost always be closer to the weekends than the actual weekends. And then also the evenings closer to the weekend. So like Thursday, Fridays are good overall, but the end of the days are really good because what? A lot of agents, they make their sales and then they leave. And by Friday, they want to have time with their family, right? So Friday evenings are great. Saturdays all day are great. And we have agents even coming in on Sundays and selling it. So Sundays are great too. And it is TCPA compliant. So, I mean, in a perfect world, those would be like the ideal times. Other than that, any time is good. But I would always say come in on the weekends or the evenings on Thursdays and Fridays. And those are probably the from a time standpoint, the better times. How many closes would you have to make in order to hit 200,000 a year? I mean, on our free lead system, probably, I mean, 800. That's a rough estimate. I mean, very rough. It might be less. It might be 600 after you go up in commission on, but 600, 800 is just like a stab in the dark. It just kind of depends. Okay. So last call for questions. Thank you guys for being here. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for smashing the like button, subscribing. Go ahead and get your last bit of questions in here before we wrap it up at the top of the hour or a little earlier. Be happy to answer your questions about anything insurance sales and marketing related. I'll also put this in the chat. Again, if you want more information on joining the DIG Agency, davidduford.com. That's my website. Watch the overview video at the top of the page. It's lengthy. I don't know if you've noticed. I like to talk a lot and I like to give information. The video there's 50 minutes. This is serious. So I want you to know as much as possible about how everything works. The last thing, what I've learned recruiting is I hate recruiting people who come in under false pretenses. And a lot of that can be eliminated by like just maybe sharing too much information. But I'd rather be on the side of too much than too little because it's your career, it's your life. And if you're going to join, I want you to know as much as you can so that you're that much more confident getting started with us. You're welcome. Oh, good. Thank you, Eric. I appreciate feeding. Yeah, I've been doing some more Reddit posting. So I'm glad to hear. If you guys have read me on Reddit, let me know. I would appreciate that because I've been doing a little bit more of that as of late. Also, I've got a free website too, free training website. It's called Insurance Sales Success. You can join that for free. It's davidduford.com/ISS. When you join, there are deep dive trainings in final expense, but also Medicare, ACA, and annuities. We do live streams there. I've got a Jess Fox who does annuity sales training for free if you're interested in that. We got my script for free for final expense telesales, one we use in our free lead agency. 3 out of 4 of my books are free in ebook format. We've got discounts on pre-licensing. Like it's free. So join it. I think you'll like it. Thank you, Mark. BS says, thanks, David. I'm with DIG and hope to be behind the board soon. Good. Coming from manufacturing, used to work overtime. Yeah. A lot of people that are successful in, I've noticed this in the final expense market, especially are from blue collar backgrounds where, working is not like hard. People are used to it. And, I think part of it, this is what I've talked to with others, it's like, this is not like the work they used to do, which is backbreaking and physically demanding. This is a relief, like dealing with old people and them yelling at you. It's like, in some ways it's a benefit. So yeah, that's what I love about this business. Like you can come from any background, rich, poor, black, white, doesn't matter. The opportunity here is wide open. There's so many people that need help with what we're offering. And you don't need to have a degree, you don't need to have pedigree or come from a certain background. What you need to bring to the table is good old-fashioned character, work ethic, and humility, and coachability. and being willing to take advice, run with it, and apply it and work at it. And the sky is the limit. And this is for us, for sure, at the DIG Agency, and in some sense, for the entirety of insurance. That's what's great about it. It's a product that will always have a need. People don't want to buy it. It takes a salesperson to close it. So there's some job security here. And it's really just wide open. I think that's what's cool about it. Lots of opportunity to be successful. Thank you, Mark. Checks in the mail. Hey, Dario, do you feel relieved if we work Monday through Saturday? I feel that it's likely. I can't guarantee it. But if you're on the phone from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. and you're putting in 10 hours a day for 6 days a week, and you're good, you're not the best, you're not terrible, but you're good, you should be selling 3 or 4 policies a week. You really should. To put it in perspective, I mean, we have agents that close a sale every 2 hours, close a sale every 3 hours. If you could close a sale every 5 hours, that would be 12 policies off of 60 hours on the phone. And that is not a very good agent. I mean, that's one sale every 5 hours on the phone. So that's what I'm saying is if you just put the time in and you're decent, halfway decent, there's a real opportunity to do that. Hey, Danny. Yep. Tired of you're told you're going to make 300 grand from a recruiter who can't produce your sale. Yeah, you're welcome for sure. Yeah, chargebacks usually work like this. We pay twice a month before we distribute commissions. Any chargebacks from sales that you originated are deducted on a prorated basis based off of what your commission level is. So it's just like any other insurance opportunity. We just deduct them before the distribution occurs. Juanita, how long should I wait for my email? I've signed up, paid for my non-residents, and paid the registration fee on yesterday. You can email me, and then I'll get somebody in charge to reach out to you. I imagine it would be today sometime, but feel free to email me anyway. I'll follow up with it personally. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time today. Hope you learned something, got some value out of this. Again, I invite you to go to daviddufour.com to learn more about the DIG Agency. Also, daviddufour.com/ISS if you want to learn more about our free training site. Lots of goodies there. And we'll see you next week on the Q&A call, same time, same place. Thanks again, guys. Enjoyed it. Peace.